Well, well, well. Welcome to True Crime Tuesday. Good morning, everybody. I'm your host, Megan Fox. Sorry I'm late. It could not be helped. I was picking a fight with the Broward County Sheriff's Department. You know how much I love to do that. I did get a response to my FOIA request from Broward County on the Eckert v. Owens case, and it wasn't what I was looking for. And I don't think it was complete. So I'm going to have to go and pick a fight. So I'm sorry, but that's what I was doing. Anywho, let's get to the topic at hand today on True Crime Tuesday, because this is a big deal. So we've been covering the Hernandez case, the medical kidnapping in Georgia, and coming to give us the updates on it today, Jennifer and Jonathan Williams, the former foster care parents of the Hernandez kids. Hey, thanks for being here today, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Well, let's start from Jonathan. We haven't met you before. Jennifer's been on a couple of times. And what was this all like from your perspective? What did you've also been a foster parent for 13 years with Jennifer. God bless, by the way, both of you. It's an amazing sacrifice that you do to help the kids in your community. What was this like for you, this experience that you went through?
Well, it's definitely been unusual. We never had anything like this in up our little rural area. Everything was pretty much as it always had been until Jennifer started asking questions and getting differing answers from different people.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, so there's been an update. You guys had to go to a trial recently, correct? You went to the Department of, well, I don't even know what they call it. So it's the DFACS or not criminal court, it's juvenile court, right?
Yeah, family court, juvenile court.
Family court. Okay, so for those of you catching up who don't know about this case, let me give you a quick rundown, the too long didn't read version. But if you want to read all the details, I have linked my article to this story in the description of the video here, both on YouTube, Rumble, and on Facebook. So please check out those links. How did I get ink all over my hands? All right, I don't even want to think about that because it's probably now on my laundry. To give you a quick rundown, the Hernandez family, Matt and Tucky is an immigrant to this country. This case is very similar to the Kowalski case. Mom and dad realize there's a swollen leg on their 3-month-old baby. They take her to the doctor. The doctor says, take her to the hospital, and they don't know how it got there. So they go to the hospital. They're asking, what's wrong with my baby? And the next thing you know, within 2 hours, 4 child abuse pediatricians have determined that they are child abusers, that the only way that this child had unexplained fractures is child abuse. And they were not given any other explanation. They didn't look into anything underlying. I mean, they did a couple things, but it doesn't seem very thorough to me. And Jennifer and Jonathan here are respite caregivers for foster care. And when the children were put in foster care, both the newborn and the 3-year-old who didn't have any injuries, they get switched around to foster cares a lot. So when foster care parents go on vacation, they call a respite home. The kids went in with Jennifer and Jonathan, and Jennifer noticed that the baby looked like another baby she had seen that had an underlying bone condition that would cause unexplained fractures and sloping head and strangeness in the joints and all these. And so Jennifer started asking questions. And what happens to Jennifer and Jonathan? Well, they get their respite home shut down. And you ended up testifying. You testified in the hearing that was the dependency hearing, which did not go the way of the family. Matt and Tucky have been charged with 4 counts of felony child abuse. It's heinous, with no evidence that they have abused this child at all. And then it was set for trial, not for criminal trial, but in the dependency court, it was set for trial where they could bring all their evidence. That's where the big breaking news is right now about what is happening in this case. The criminal charges have not been dropped, but tell us what happened in that trial that you were just at, and you were testifying in as well, I believe.
Yes, so this was considered the disposition hearing. It was held on the 19th. And Jonathan and I were both there. The courtroom was packed out, actually, with family, friends, and even a few people just from Forsyth County who heard about this and came to support the family, to the point where they stopped letting people go in They kept them outside, which I disagree with. I feel like they could have made everyone scooch over and, stand and sit. A lot of people came to hear this and be part of this. We were sequestered, even though in this type of hearing, hearsay is allowed, but the prosecution, in all her greatness and her royalty, wanted us out of the room. So Jonathan and I, since we were supposed to be possible witnesses, we were sequestered out. But we had a lot of people there that we knew we would get information from later. My sister Mandy, members of You Are the Power were in there. So we hung outside with the aunt and uncle. And when it was my turn to testify, I'd like to just jump into that, Megan, if I can. So I didn't know, of course, I'm not in there. I don't know what's going on. And I found out from Mandy later that the prosecution, so the defense attorney, who was just a real jerk.
Oh, she is a bulldozer. That one. Yeah. I listened to her in the dependency court hearing, and oh my God,
she's just a bully.
A bully, yeah.
She's a bully. And I mean, there are people who are like, well, this is her job. Okay, you don't have to bully and be rude to people.
Oh, I'd want her on my side. I'd want her on my side. I'd want her on my side. She was a freight train. That one.
She objected to me being a witness.
Really?
She objected to it. She didn't want it. Then they decided, again, this is from Mandy, they decided that they would just stay on task. The reason we were going to be a witness is we were going to be possible placements for Emma and Aria. They want them out of foster care. So our home and one other blood relative home was being, we want this home or this home for the girls to go to. So it was said that if you stay on task, stay on the subject of Jennifer being a placement, this witness can come in. And that was agreed upon by all the attorneys, right? And by the judge. So I'm not knowing this, but I come in and I get asked just a few questions from the parents' attorneys, a little bit about Aria's behavior when she first came to our home in August. What kind of a child was she? What kind of personality? And at that time, of course, she was happy. She missed her parents. She made that very clear. But she was overall a very well-rounded, great-mannered, ate her vegetables, happy little girl. And over the last few months, we've seen that decline. We've seen her become very empty, very sad. It's very horrible. So those were the questions. So Megan, when the girl's guardian ad litem, when it comes to her turn to ask questions, now this is the girl's attorney, right? So that everyone understands. You have a guardian ad litem. You can also have an attorney. She's both. She's a guardian ad litem and the child's attorney. She asks me, the very first question was, have you been doing interviews with the media?
Of course. They hate that so much.
And I was really not expecting that, especially from her. I was not expecting for the girl's attorney. That has nothing to do with the girl's well-being.
Oh, they will say it does. They will say that it's an invasion of their privacy, and as if there should be any privacy involved in a case. In any of these cases, the people need to know what's going on. There should not, but they will. It's a First Amendment issue, but they will shut you down if they can.
Yeah,
they do it.
So I said, yes, I have. And she said, how many? And I was like, I don't know, like 4 or 5, 6. She started asking with who. So of course I'm like, Megan Fox, the writer. I'm like, Jake
not the Green, Hollywood one with the toe thumbs.
Not her. Jake Green. I started trying to remember some of the people, and I even left out a few just because I didn't remember. She asked, are you responsible for the information given to parents behind the pinwheels? I said, yes, I am. She said, are you responsible for the video Spike Cohen put out with Judge Heather Dunn's picture and name put on it? And I was like, no, I'm not responsible for that, because You Are the Power put that together. So I was like, no, I'm not responsible for that. Those were her only questions. That was it.
Wow.
It wasn't when Aria was with you, when Emma was with you. Can you elaborate more on what you thought was going on with her?
How would you be a better placement than the current foster placement? What are you going to do differently to take care of the girls? That's what we were expecting.
Yeah. So that was really weird. And then, of course, when it came to the prosecution, she really wanted to make a big deal that I'm not a doctor. And I just need to make it very clear. I've never pretended to be a doctor. I don't pretend to have any doctor credentials, nothing. But she made a really big deal that I'm basically a homemaker and a nobody. And like, why do I think that I can say that something's going on with Emma? She ended up, I hope we get these transcripts, Megan. I really do, because I would love, Jonathan missed it. He didn't get to hear any of it. But I ended up saying, I use my brain and my heart. Like my brain like shows me I can look at a baby and I can say something's going on.
Right.
And she said, with all of your vast knowledge, is how she talks to me. That's literally how she talks, like with all of your vast knowledge. Are you suggesting we use our brain and our heart when it comes to children instead of evidence? And I said, yes, I am, especially when there is no evidence. And she was like, no more questions.
Well, you showed her.
I wish I could have said more. I would have liked to have been as sarcastic to her as she was to me. But when you're up there, you're not really sure. You're trying to be respectful, or I am. And I don't think that it's appropriate behavior in court. Although she's doing it and she's getting away with it. And I think that's wrong. I don't think you
that
should.
That judge let her get away with a lot. That judge just allowed her to be argumentative and badgering and never said a word about any of that.
So I don't want to be that person. And in that moment, you have to make really quick decisions, right? You can't you don't have time to, what should I say to this person? I don't know what questions they're going to ask me. So I don't know exactly how to be prepared. So I just did the best I could without being sarcastic back. I would have loved to, because I have so many things I could have said. I wanted to say, I realize some people in this courtroom don't have a heart, is what I really wanted to say.
Right.
Maybe she'll listen to this and hear that, because I don't think she does, because she is just so hateful. And I don't want to jump around too much, but I know people want to hear more of like what happened in this courtroom. So one thing that is horribly sad, but also awesome for the case, the parents' attorneys got in touch with the previous daycare, right? So everyone understands the girls were put with the aunt and uncle in June for 5 weeks. In July, they were moved to a single mom foster home.
And they were moved because the baby's leg was still discolored, showing discoloration. So instead of being like, oh shit, there must be a medical reason here, baby's not being abused, they were like, oh, the uncle or the aunt is abusing her, or allowing mom to come by and abuse her. That's literally what they said. Yes. So then they moved her into a non-family foster home with a single mom, as if a single mom who works and isn't at home like Taki was at home, or isn't at home like Tony and his wife are at home. So now they've moved her into a place that's less stable. Unbelievable. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, that's all truth. And that foster mom was using respite, I want to say almost every weekend. It was a lot. She was using, that's how we met the girls. It was just a lot of respite. So the girls were moved from her home the first weekend of December into a husband-wife home, which was a foster to adopt home, which is not appropriate at all for this situation. For anyone who's wondering, there is a difference between a foster home and a foster to adopt. When you're wanting to adopt, you're saying, I want kids placed in my home that either parents have no rights to, or we are almost there. So by DFACS placing the girls in that home, they're essentially saying these girls are going to be ready to be adopted soon, right?
They're saying we're not reunifying.
Exactly, which they were not.
We're moving forward with termination is basically what they're doing. Yeah, TPR.
So the girls had been going to a specific daycare from July until December. Then they were moved into another home, so they were put into another daycare.
Oh,
well, so the daycare that they were in, the mom's attorney got in touch with this director. And the director was completely on board with something's not going right with DFACS and these babies. Now, keep in mind, this director never met the biological parents. They never met Matt and Tucky. Matt and Tucky never went to this daycare. They didn't have a say in what daycare their kids go to. But the director told the mom's lawyer, can I be a witness? Can I testify on behalf of what I saw? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. So she ended up having to do it by Zoom. Her children were sick. So she had to do it by Zoom. This director testified that Emma had
The baby.
discoloration. Emma, yes, the one who's sick, had discoloration on her skin and throwing up
Oh my
daily
God.
from July to December, the first week of December.
Mm.
And the judge, I was told, stopped
God.
her and said, did she have throwing up or discoloration of the skin daily? And the director was like, both.
Uh-huh.
And DFAX said,
Oh my
well,
God.
this is the first we're hearing of it. You know, nobody told us. So either DFAX is lying or the daycare never reported it or the foster mom never reported it. How can you know when you've got so many bad actors? I don't. How
Right.
can you know? But
What did she say? Did she explain that she did report it?
You know, I wasn't in there, so I'm not sure if somebody asked, and I don't know if the prosecution asked her, why didn't this get reported? I'm not sure.
Right.
That's a great question. But
I
this
bet she
director-
did. I bet she did report it, and I bet that they just held it to themselves.
Yes. Oh, yes. I am sure this director, why would she come to a hearing, willingly offer it to testify to this? It would make her look bad as a director of this daycare if she didn't report it.
Right.
So I believe full-heartedly she either told DFAX or the
Because is
foster
she
mom.
the same one who did report the arm discoloration? Okay, so there's no chance she didn't tell somebody, because she already told somebody about the first time she saw discoloration, and she didn't, either she took her to the hospital or she asked DCF to take her.
She told DFAX, and DFAX told Tucky it had happened, and it had been like 10 days. I saw the text. It was like, oh, by the way, about 10, 14 days ago, this happened at daycare. Emma was favoring one side of her body and had discoloration. I forget which body part, leg, arm, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But had discoloration. And Tucky said, oh my gosh, what did the doctor say? Like, what's going on with my baby?
Yeah.
And that DFAX worker said, well, the hospital was too busy, so we're going to take her next week.
Right. And I wonder if they ever took her?
There is so much that you don't know because they don't tell the truth. They're lying. DFAX lies about so much stuff. They claimed back in October, Emma's not been to the doctor at all. However, we've seen now she had been multiple times. So they have no problem lying in court. None at all.
Horrible.
I'm trying to think of other highlights from court. Okay. The CHOA subpoena is a really big deal. If you want to talk about that, Jay.
Well, we know the gentleman that served a subpoena on Tucky's lawyer's behalf to CHOA, and he was there 90 minutes trying to serve this, dealing with the same person who would leave him for 25 to 30 minutes and come back each time. They played the craziest game of hardball I've ever seen. She
saw the names too.
Yeah. When he first walked in and handed her the paper to sign, she immediately signed it. Then she read it and said, oh, Hernandez, I know these kids' names. I'm not sure we'll be able to provide this. And he said, well, this is a subpoena, so you'll be...
You don't have a choice, man.
He said, well, the children are in state care.
What was the subpoena for? What was it? Was it for showing up at court? For the medical records. Gotcha. Okay.
And she said, well, these kids are in DFAX care, so we'll need to get permission from DFAX before we can release that. And she leaves for about 25 minutes, comes back with, well, this subpoena doesn't have the seal of the clerk on it. And he says, well, this is the same subpoena that the clerk sends to each attorney that's already been, pre-filled out. It'll get the seal after you sign it, and it processes through their office. She was just trying to pull at straws. He finally mentioned the name of her attorney supervisor that Tucky's lawyer had emailed a copy of it over a couple weeks prior. He was just doing it in person to get the hard copy. And she's like, oh, he's aware. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll provide that. Turns out they didn't provide that information before court. And
big surprise.
Yeah, shocker. And just so everyone is aware, this is the accusing hospital from the very beginning. So this is Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. They have all the information on Emma that this family would need. Any tests that were done. That way we can know what tests were not done. And for them to, he was there for an hour and a half trying to get a subpoena, to like hand deliver a subpoena. And then they still did not provide the information for court. So that's not shady or sketchy at all.
Yeah, Jester's Foppery says, sounds like John's drops kids. Yeah, sounds very similar. Avoiding responsibility, passing the buck, not taking responsibility. So did they ever turn over all the medical records? Do they have them yet?
Not as far as this morning, no.
What? So so you went through the entire trial without the full medical report from the hospital?
Well, they consider this just a hearing, a disposition hearing. So DFACS was there to say, Your Honor, we would like to terminate rights. They already had a date chosen. They had a date chosen in March. On this date, we want these parents' rights terminated. So that was, and the defendants were trying to say, we want these children out of foster care placed with family. So I don't know that they really considered it an actual trial. It was more like a hearing. But yeah, we couldn't show anything from records because they didn't deliver them.
Wow. And so the judge, even despite not having those medical records, the judge decided to reunify the family. The judge sided with the family in this case, in the hearing. So talk a little bit about what is that ruling? What does that ruling mean? When will reunification actually happen to your understanding?
So the next step, because everything with the government takes so long and they have to make it as confusing.
Oh, but not when they want to take your kid. They can take your kid like that. They can take your kid overnight, but when a judge rules and says, give them back, and it takes them 3 months to do it.
Yes, exactly. So how it went was the judge ended up, siding with the parents. She actually brought up, like, let's not talk about October, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but let's not talk about the ruling from the adjudication hearing. Let's move forward. And we're going to reunify. So she denied DFACS's termination and wanted the kids to stay in foster care because the aunt and uncle, it's been ordered that they have a specific home evaluation done. I think it's called a social study home evaluation, which is done by a guardian ad litem at random. So a guardian ad litem has to go, even though the department already approved the aunt and uncle's house. Mm-hmm. But then because of the health concerns that came up, and they, like a good loving aunt and uncle, took her to the doctor and they got punished for that, they want a new home evaluation done. And it's going to be a little bit more in depth. So that's supposed to be done. They're waiting. So this was the 19th. I don't even know what today is, the 30th. They have not heard yet when this guardian ad litem is coming to their house. So there's nothing that the aunt and uncle can do. They have to sit and wait, right, until someone comes and says, we want to schedule to come to your house. So they're waiting for that. The interesting part was, and I'm just going to give you my opinion on this. At this hearing, it was asked, like it normally is, is the foster family here? So the foster parents of Emma and Arya at that time were present, and the judge asked if they had anything to say. The foster father said he did want to say something. So he went up to the stand, which is very intimidating for anyone who's never been in a courtroom. It actually is intimidating. So I applaud him for wanting to get up there. He had a lot of positive things to say about the girls. They've always wanted a big family. They have one son. They've always wanted a big family. The girls bring a lot of joy and laughter to their home. Then he said something to the effect, I'm very surprised to see the amount of support this family has. It's overwhelming. And he got choked up. He stopped himself. Whether it was real or fake, I have no idea. But he got emotional and said he was very surprised, and then ended with, we just want to be there for the girls. Whatever that looks like, we want to be there.
Maybe he realized that this is not what they told us it was. Like you did when you were told it was abuse, and you were like, wait a minute, what?
Yes.
Listen, this doesn't make sense.
As a foster family, when DFACS brings babies to your house and they say, well, here's the deal. Kids were living in a motel or kids were found in the street. You believe that. You believe whatever you're told. And they say, parents are on drugs or parents this. So in their defense, if they were given these two precious girls and were told, hey, parents physically beat up on these kids, this family thought they were rescuing them from a horrible situation. So I'll leave it at that. Whether they looked for their own truth or not is on them. But that's, I assume, what DFACS had told them. At the very end, the foster father went up to Matt Hernandez, fist pumped him, and said, I got your back, man. I mean, that sounded really good, right? That was on a Friday. On Monday, we all got the message that foster family needs the girls out of their house now. ASAP. Out of their house.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. And whether this came from DFACS or the foster family, I'm not sure because I'm not in contact with them and I don't plan to be in contact with the foster family. But Aria's behaviors are no longer they cannot handle them. They need the girls gone.
Mm.
Now, this ended up being an awesome thing because the girls were placed with it was an emergency placement with a family friend of the Hernandez family.
Thank God.
So they are now with a loving family, not blood relatives, and they are still under DFACS scrutiny. So if that's the appropriate word. They are still under DFACS care. So they are not out of foster care at this time, but they are not with a foster family. So what that means is they still have certain rules that they have to abide by. They can't just do whatever they want with the girls. DFACS must approve of all decisions, all of that. However,
but the parents have been given the medical care decisions, correct? They have all medical care.
So they were ordered by the judge. It's really interesting, Megan. It's funny. They were ordered to, now you need to go get testing of Emma and out of your own pocket.
Of course. Oh my God. So
That
we tell you that you're an abuser. Now go and prove to us that you're not. And at your own expense.
And this is, again, my opinion, the way, and I'm thankful for Heather Dunn. I will say, the judge, I'm super thankful with her ruling. I do not approve of
me too. Me too.
I'm thankful
I think that she really jumped the gun though in the first ruling.
Yes, absolutely.
She didn't do what a good and wise judge should do, which is actually look at the evidence. She went with the guy she knew. And it was very evident to me that it was all because that attorney, that bulldog attorney that DFACS has, discredited the parent's expert witness by bringing up bullshit from his retirement that had nothing to do with the facts of the case. Nothing. And I can't believe that it wasn't objected to. Why? I don't know why the other side wasn't like this. Objection relevance. You can't discredit a guy's medical findings because he had some time card problem in 10 years ago. It's absurd.
Yeah, Sarah Adams just made a comment. She's right. The judge kind of treated them like they're in 5th grade. Again, guys, this is just my opinion of sitting in this courtroom, but that is how it seems. You take these kids from a loving, happily married family. You do not give them any rule over their children for 7-8 months now. And now they're basically like, you need to go get your daughter tested. Almost like, what are you waiting for? Go get your daughter tested.
God, what were they supposed to do? What are they? How are they supposed to do that too when they don't have custody of them? And they're not allowed to speak with one another. So Matt and Tucky are still legally not allowed to speak to each other, which is absurd. How do they then? Who's the main coordinator of the medical testing? Then it has to just be one and not both.
Right, exactly. It's very confusing. They were also ordered to go to all medical appointments separately, of course. So they will have to, Matt goes to one, Tucky goes to the next one. Matt goes to one because they can't be together. So they were ordered that. Now, in Judge Dunn's ruling, she made the comment while reading her paper, I see here you both have denied at least one medical appointment. You will be going to all medical appointments. They have never denied going to a medical appointment. And that's the kind of stuff I wish I could be like, objection, that's not truth. Like,
Right.
that's ridiculous to say because it makes them look bad. And I'm telling you, they weren't even invited to all of them. Half of them, they get told, oh, this morning, Aria had a cold and here she was at the doctor. And the parents are like, why didn't you tell us? So they get invited to some, they get told about some after. And the girls had been very sick the whole month of December up until this trial. In fact, Emma was at the doctor that morning of trial. We found out after court. DFACS didn't even tell the parents.
Oh
she
my
was
God.
Throwing up again.
Oh no.
Which doctors had said in October could happen with the metabolic bone disease that she's dealing with. It can affect your digestive system. And no one even told. The foster mom said it in passing to someone in court. Yeah, I just got back. I had to take Emma to the doctor. She was throwing up again. The girls have had supposedly pink eye, so many things. They're just sick a lot. So now, yes, they have the opportunity to find a doctor. The problem is we're looking for a specific doctor, right? You need a doctor. If Emma has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, there's a lot of doctors who don't even recognize this syndrome yet. And a lot of that is like clinical. It's not a blood test. So there's a lot of confusion as to who should see Emma. So the team, the counsel, the attorneys, they have a paralegal who they're working with who actually has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome herself. And she's helping find
is this the you and I were talking about a couple weeks ago?
Who offered her services.
Great.
Yes.
So they did make contact.
Yes. And she's been very helpful. She was at court that day.
Oh,
so
thank God.
Yeah.
What a blessing. She just appeared out of nowhere and said, let me help you.
Let me help. Yes. For a very amazing price for this family.
Unbelievable.
Next to nothing, honestly. So I'm very thankful to her. It's just so hard. You said it before. If the husband and wife can't talk to each other, right? They also are not allowed to talk to the aunt and uncle, who are the possible placement for the babies. So the whole thing is like, we have to talk to Matt for this person. We have to tell Tucky this. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. But that's just the reality of it. Trying to help them figure out a plan. I think a motion has been put in for the bond restrictions for Matt and Tucky. So they're waiting. It has to be done before a judge.
The bond restrictions are something I've never, ever heard of in my whole life. I've never heard of a judge saying you're not allowed to live with or talk to your wife or husband until this trial is over. That's like crazy.
Special for Forsyth County. It's like a special fun thing, Forsyth County.
Yeah, a special fun thing that they do to you in criminal court in Forsyth County.
It's disgusting.
I think that the whole county should be sued for that. I think the whole county should be sued for doing that. Whoever they've done that to, there should be a class action lawsuit because that's a violation of your constitutional rights to associate.
Yes.
They can't do that without you have to be guilty of something before they can take your civil rights away. These people are innocent.
In the home. The kids weren't even in the home. So
why can't they be together? Yeah, it's because they don't want them supposedly to get their stories, straight.
Colluding.
But they're married. Like the state cannot separate married people. That's not the state's right. The state's
let no
right
man
cannot
put
do
asunder.
that.
I mean,
let no man put asunder. Exactly. The state has no right to do that. And I just can't imagine why they haven't been slapped with a lawsuit by now from other people that they've done this to, because I've heard too from different sources that this is going on in Forsyth County all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like the Forsyth County special.
It's disgusting and it's wrong. So I think that has been put in. We talked last time Matt had new representation. They've been amazing. They're civil, they're criminal. So they're handling the juvenile and the criminal part.
Oh, that's wonderful that they're doing both. That's great.
Yes. And they're working really well with the Moms Council. So all in all, they're awesome lawyers. They're kind. Jonathan and I are not family, but they involve us in the emails that involve us in, because that's what the parents want and they respect that. So I really do appreciate the counsel. I just feel like some things take too long. I feel like we already should have a specialist for Emma. Those can take months. I don't want to show up at court, which is March 1st, that's when we go back to court March 1st.
Without having a specialist.
With saying, well, I mean, I will be so angry. So I don't want that to happen. We need.
Well, so so you don't have a specialist yet. We have an awfully big audience here, and I know we have some local people in Georgia who listen too. So if any of you know about Ehlers-Danlos specialists there who might be willing to
and
see
metabolic bone disease, like
metabolic
anything.
bone disease, please contact me or contact Jennifer. But you guys can contact me and let me know who they should be making phone calls to. You guys have been amazing at raising awareness, public awareness of this issue. Jennifer, tell the audience what was testified to on the stand by the DFACS worker about the calls and the emails and the that they have been getting at their office.
I'm so upset I couldn't be in there to see this. So I had to live this through my sister and a couple of the Power members who were there. I'm upset because she was very flustered. So I don't know. I just believe in name calling. So Ashley Smith is the DFACS supervisor, and they're in Forsyth County. She was not the case worker. So remember, foster kids have a case worker. Both of those caseworkers were taken off of the case in January. And the supervisor was like, I've got this case now. So everyone can allude to why she wanted the takeover. So she took the stand, and it was just asked about the email. She's very upset, you guys, because she's received over 500 emails from other countries.
We're so sorry. We're so sorry that your email is public because you're a government worker. And we're so sorry. It's very annoying to hear from the people you serve. We get it, but it's still your job.
And no one said anything about inappropriate emails, bully emails. I'm so thankful because I think they would have used that if they had that.
Absolutely, they would.
I'm so thankful for your help that you got people. Spike Cohen got people emailing, and everyone seems to have done a very respectful job. And that's really important because they could have used that and they were unable to.
We got all of our vitriol out on the program talking to one another. And so inside, we're saying this.
You will pay for what you've done. And I pray that God send angels to visit vengeance upon you.
But then on the emails, we toned it down, way down, because we know how these people are. The minute you say a harsh word, they're like, death threats, death threats.
Yes.
So we were very careful, and I chastised the
audience.
I'm so
thankful for
multiple times. Only use swear words in your head, and rewrite them on the. So there's a new target now, and I don't even have to do it for you because Spike Cohen did it for you, and he has a new contact page. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Clickety click. This is where you're going to get your new marching orders on Spike Cohen's You Are the Power website. We are now focusing on the district attorney's office. He even has a sample message you can use. Now, of course, you can write your own. You don't have to use his sample message. You don't have to use mine. You can use your own. We just ask that you don't use any profanity, be very civil, be very, you can be direct, but we basically need to tell them, and here, let me show you. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I have to, where did I put it on? Oh, I didn't put it in Rumble. I mean, locals. There you go, locals. Share page. Here we go. All right. Here is the page that I just sent you guys. So You Are the Power has given us a new sample email. All right, it says, hello, this is the sample email. Hello, my name is Megan Fox. I'm concerned about the pending criminal charges against both Matt and Willard Hernandez, that's Taki. In family court, the standard of proof is the preponderance of evidence. Juvenile Court Judge Heather Dunn, in her ruling on January 19th, 2024, based on the facts of the case and witness testimony, has started the process to reunite the Hernandez family. Judge Dunn determined Aria and Emma are no longer dependent on the state for their care. However, as you know, the standard of proof in criminal matters is beyond a reasonable doubt. I sincerely believe that the elements of the crimes are not met, and therefore successful prosecution is unlikely. I believe a jury of their peers will not find these loving parents guilty of the crimes they are being accused of. Please consider the secondary trauma that is being inflicted upon this family by continuing this process to convict and incarcerate innocent parents who responsibly sought medical help for their daughter Emma. I respectfully ask that you dismiss these charges immediately. I think that's a really good letter. I love it. This is going to go to Penny Penn, Carolyn Yee, who's the assistant district attorney. Penny Penn is the district attorney. Joe Perkins, he's the Forsyth County chief deputy, and Mark Hoffman, the commander of Law Enforcement Bureau. There are their email addresses. You can send them emails. Now, we discovered that you can go on Google and you can type in how to set up automatic emails to send from your Gmail account, and you can send these people an email a day. You can send them 3 emails a day. It doesn't matter how many emails you send them. You may send them as long as they keep hearing from us. This is what needs to happen. They need to be the whole office needs to be overflowing with emails, letters, faxes if they have them. I'm going to look up their fax numbers and see if any of these people have fax machines still, because that's always fun to make their office littered with paper. They hate that. And that makes people go to the water cooler and be like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, I do believe, Sarah, that the state means to make them divorce. They do this. They did it to Rachel Bruno. They tried to break up her marriage. They told the Kowalskis that they needed to get divorced.
Yes.
They were talking to Jack Kowalski, and they were talking him into separating from his wife, basically using extortion and saying, you can have your kids back if you leave your wife. In this case, they're doing it by keeping them separated and apart. How are they doing, by the way? I know they aren't allowed to communicate with each other,
Right.
but are they still, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how they could know. Are they still feeling secure in their relationship after all of this?
Yes, it is the cutest thing. We get to see Matt every week. He comes to church with us every Sunday. And there's always a tell my wife I love her. If there's any photos, tell her she looks beautiful. Really, really sweet. They're doing wonderful in that aspect. We were with You Are the Power for the entire weekend. We were all invited to a Libertarian Party convention here in Georgia. So some of the guys from North Carolina, South Carolina, Spike Cohen himself came, and he got to meet Matt and Tucky separately on different days. And that was so encouraging. One, the girls are now with a family friend. So as you can imagine, they are now elated to have.
Yeah.
They have the opportunity, Megan, to pick up their phone and ask this family friend, how are the girls?
Yeah. Which they didn't have before.
Can I do a phone call with Aria?
Yeah.
And this friend sends them pictures. Matt said he's received more pictures in the first 4 or 5 days that this family friend had them than from the whole time they've been in DFACS care, the whole 8 months. So that is a beautiful thing. Emma started walking with one of her little toys. She is now walking with the assistance of a toy. This friend taped that and immediately sent it to both parents.
Oh, they missed it.
They're missed.
Oh, God, they
horrible.
missed it. She's breaking up. Jennifer, you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if you're losing your Wi-Fi a bit.
You get to see it, through a text message. It makes him happy that a loving person is taking care of his kids. So yeah, he is missing big things, but you have to understand Matt and Tucky are some of the kindest people. They don't hold bitterness. They're not bitter people. How they're not bitter is beyond me, but they're not. So they're just thankful. That's how they are. They're thankful. And they were very encouraged over the weekend to spend time with Spike Cohen, who is honestly a wonderful individual. The You Are the Power team was able to encourage them a lot. And they're just at peace now. There's no longer wondering what their daughters are doing throughout the day. It's a sense of peace now.
Yeah, that's really huge, though, to know that your children are with someone that you trust and that you know. I can't even imagine what it's like if your children are with strangers and you're not allowed to interact with them, or I just can't, that kind of trauma is too much. So these are all very good. So the good news updates are that the judge in the dependency court issued a ruling that says we're not doing termination, we're going to reunification. So obviously she didn't see any evidence of abuse, because if she had, I don't think she'd be going that way. Did she?
But she doesn't want to talk about October. Remember,
So
we're
she
not
won't
going to go back to that.
That's
over.
really strange. So she wouldn't make any commentary on the facts of the case. It's just
No.
We're going to reunify.
And I was in there for that part. So I mean, from everything I heard, it was just like, I forget exactly how she said it, but basically like, we're not looking back, we're just looking forward. The adjudication hearing's over.
Oh my God.
Go on. So yeah. And some people have wondered, did she have a change of heart? Does she realize the truth? Has defects? It blew her mind when she found out Emma's been puking and having discoloration of her skin. My sister said she could tell the judge was like, kind of like, what? That's a big deal. So was it that? Was it media pressure? Some would say it could be media pressure. Her husband is an elected judge. So I think media pressure does matter. I think that matters. I think she knows now that there's a video.
Oh, I think it absolutely matters. It absolutely matters.
Yeah.
In fact, let's look at. Okay, so Spike Cohen put up a tweet I want to read for you guys. Let's see. It says, this weekend, let me see if I can make this bigger. I had the great honor of meeting the Matt and Tucky Hernandez. I had met them separately because I had to meet them separately because the Georgia state government is still not allowing them to see each other. They haven't been together since last June. They are now allowed to visit their children separately, but until all charges are dropped against them, their forced estrangement will continue. To get all the details of their case, a list of the officials to contact, and a template you can use while emailing them, go to the link that I'm putting in the next post on this thread. We will not rest until this family is reunited and this nightmare is behind them. I really need to get a hold of Spike and see if I can get him on this program to talk about this case and the work that they have done. But this is so sweet. So there's Tucky here, and then Matt here. You guys know Matt. He's been on this program. He gave us a wonderful interview, and I think everybody could see his heart. Everybody could see his heart for his children, and it's just, he broke down multiple times crying, and the fact that the state has this kind of power over parents without any accountability is just wrong. And we are the accountability. That's what we are. That's what those 500 emails in everybody's inbox is going to do. That is accountability. It's putting them on notice. Now, the district attorney is an elected position. Penny Penn needs to be a nationwide known name now for the district attorney who is prosecuting these people using state money, using taxpayer money to prosecute these parents with absolutely no evidence of abuse. They have nothing. They don't have a video of abuse. They don't have any witness testimony of abuse. All they have are unexplained fractures and a swollen leg and discoloration of the skin that never changed after taking the baby away from the parents. That right there is the biggest piece of evidence. This should be an open shut, go home case. Yes. Like, it's not a case. There's nothing here. Leave these people alone and let them go find the medical care they need. I don't know how they're supposed to go and search for medical care now while they're separated. Children are not living with them. How does it even work? Do they coordinate with the friends who have the kids? So they have to call the doctor, make the appointment, but coordinate with the other family so that they can take the children there.
Yes, and DFACS must be notified. Okay. The prosecutor, before the court even started, her big, loud, booming voice, she made that very well known to everyone before I got asked to leave the courtroom, that we need to make this clear, make sure everyone understands. DFACS needs to be told ahead of time any appointments, and they have the right to be in the room.
What?
Yeah.
But so let me get this straight. That means that if DFACS says we can't make the appointment that you made, what happens then? Are they allowed to go?
That's a great question.
Because they always do that. They always do that. They did it in the Kowalski case. They would do things like she had court-ordered visitation. to with her dad and her brother, and DFACS would be like, well, we can't make it that day, so you don't get
It's a
your
great
visitation.
question. We'll
And so they
see.
never got it. They didn't get it.
It's a great question. I'm hoping that the council, that the attorneys push hard enough to say we were ordered, our clients were ordered to get her seen. These are specialists. So some of these may have it could be weeks out. You know, we all know what it's like getting a specialist.
Oh, it's damn near impossible.
It could be really hard. Now, we did find someone local to the family, but they recently found out she has privileges at CHOA. I don't know what that means. I think the attorneys now are a little hesitant to book her right away because she has privileges at CHOA. And now at this point, everyone would like to stay as far away from CHOA as possible. Now, to be fair, I think the hospital itself, I have friends who have taken their kids there and they've saved their children's lives. I think it's a fantastic hospital.
Well, if she's not on staff,
right,
and she just has privileges, that's a different thing.
Yes, and she may be our only option. So
I say you try it anyway, because you can always get a second or third opinion. You might as well try. You might as well get the appointment if you can get it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like CHOA is the problem. It's the child abuse pediatricians.
The child abuse pediatricians.
And any nurses who just sign their name.
Well, the truth is, was the baby even seen by any doctor at CHOA that wasn't a child abuse pediatrician? Because it didn't seem like it to me.
The admitting, I think, the very first person they walked into.
The very first person, but then the four child abuse pediatricians took over the care.
Yeah. Well, all four that work there have their names somewhere on Emma's paperwork.
Right.
So, you know, Messner was the one who said, this is abuse. Pena is the one who came and testified. Verena Brown has her name on there and Chang has his name on there. So it's like they want to be able to say all these doctors. You know what's interesting, Megan? We're trying to find out proof of how the child abuse pediatricians are contracted, because they have contracts with the state. So we would like to find that information out. I was on a podcast last week with an individual. She went through this 7 years ago. Her baby was taken from her. So she's now an advocate. She found out in Arizona that the child abuse pediatricians get $830 something per child that they say this is abuse. And then an additional 300 and some odd dollars per body part that they x-ray.
What?
Per body part.
My Lord.
I would like to find out in every state, but specifically here in Georgia, what are they contracted with? How much money did they make off of Emma and all these other families that Rebecca?
That's what we always want to know, and we don't ever get to find that information somehow. It's because I think the state needs to be audited. I think the only way we would find out is if the auditor general or somebody involved in the finance department of the state would audit DFACS and find out, where is the money coming from? What is it being spent on? How much per child? But they're very cagey about it. You know, they list their budget and their budgetary items and stuff, but you don't get that breakdown, that individual breakdown. But this is interesting because I'm talking to a controller in Pennsylvania who and there's a scandal just like this going on in Pennsylvania with a child abuse doctor who's making false allegations, and he is doing that. He and I have been talking about it, and he's unbelievable. I'm going to have him on the show soon. His name is Mark Pinsley, but he has been going after them using the tools of the controller to see what is going on in the budget. How are they connected to the hospital? Why are they connected to the hospital? Because they have a literal office at the hospital in Pennsylvania where their DFS people are they're like child abuse pediatricians, but they work for the state and the hospital. It's really weird. It's like just like Sally Smith.
Yes.
They're not doctors, they're investigators. So yeah, we need to find that out. I guess some FOIA requests might. I think, let me think about this for a second. So if Pena and Messner and the other two are contracted somehow through, like if they're getting payment by the state or a state agency, then their payments would be FOIAble.
Right.
I could find that. Do you know who they work for? Do they actually work for CHOA?
I don't know. I mean, they do, but are they contracted through like a third party? I don't know. I recently found out CHOA has like a nonprofit. They consider themselves a nonprofit, which maybe all big hospitals do that for money purposes. So I'm not sure, but I do want to know, because I think that's important to find out how much money are we talking here. Because I didn't know it was going to be in over $1,000 like it is in Arizona. I mean, that's crazy money.
Well, another thing I was thinking of was with the ruling from the judge saying that the parents are now responsible for the children, yet the state is still housing them. Does that then allow the state to charge the parents for the upkeep of the children? Sometimes they'll go after parents that they've taken their kids for child support.
Yes.
So
I don't know in this case, but yeah, I've heard that. Now, Tucky and Matt supply things all the time. They buy food, they buy diapers, they buy wipes, but the foster parents also they have a certain amount of money that they can write off. So the whole thing's just a mess. I know that they provide clothing, diaper, wipes. They do that as a family. And then they were wondering why the clothes that they were purchasing, the girls were never using them. The girls were in like the same outfits almost in every single visit. And the parents were like, what's going on? Like, our kids are wearing the same clothes over and over again. Like, where are the clothes that we're buying? So another reason to have them in a good home, because now they'll have a better understanding of what's going on with that family friend.
Yeah, your listeners know that they can contact you and you'll keep everything confidential. I wish somebody watching this could, send a screenshot of how these contracts work to you, just so that we would know. That would be the easiest thing rather than figure out who to FOIA. But just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I know. I'm always open for whistleblowers. If you work for DFACS in Georgia and you want to blow up the whistle on any of this and just let us know how this stuff works, here's my email. Send it to me. I will protect my sources. You can go to the public library. You can open up a Gmail account in any name you want to and send me an untraceable email from there. Public libraries don't track, don't record, what the heck you're doing there. So I found that out when I wrote Shut Up, the Bizarre War that one public library waged against the First Amendment. If you want to do any internet crimes, the library is the place to be. But whistleblowing is not a crime. Whistleblowing is actually protected by federal law. Whistleblowers are protected, or should be, and I would never reveal my sources. So if you do have something to say, and to let us know what's going on with Georgia DFACS, which is under investigation by Senator Ossoff. Did you hear back from Ossoff's office at all?
So Rachel Bruno and she actually just messaged me a few minutes ago. She was there last week, proposing a bill. Maybe you want her on your show to talk some of that, but she knew she was going to see his office and some of his aides. So I had typed up a quick intro of Matt and Tucky's situation, and with dates of who I've spoken with in his office, names of who I've spoken with. I had an hour-long phone conversation with one of the aides. I sent all that to her. She printed it and she handed it directly to an aide. And she got to see John Ossoff himself. So she actually went a little bit ago to find out what should we do next. So I will respond to her. But I'm not sure, because now that she's done that, I feel like maybe I can reach back out and say, hey, where are we at?
Yeah, you absolutely should keep bothering him. And you guys, you can keep sending emails to John Ossoff and the governor, by the way.
Yes.
Both of those people are very influential in Georgia. The governor specifically for criminal matters, because the governor has the right to issue a pardon. The governor can wave his hand and say enough. And so if the governor hears enough, Governor Kemp, if he hears enough from you, he may take it under his power and just say, this is just stop. He can also make a phone call to Penny Penn and say, this is it's enough. If you don't drop these charges, I'm going to pardon them anyway. So, and he has that right. He's the executive of the state. So I would continue to call Senator Ossoff. I would continue to call Governor Kemp. And send emails and letters to them, as well as to the new list that we have now going forward. As far as the ones that we were doing before, you can probably give the Forsyth County officials a break now. We can probably stop emailing them since DFACS is apparently on the right track. What is the next hearing scheduled for DFACS? Like what's happening next?
So that's March 1st. I don't know if they call that a dependency hearing. You know, they have all these names.
Mhm.
Essentially, what should happen is the guardian ad litem will hopefully have already evaluated this aunt and uncle's home, and the girl should be returned with DFACS out of the picture. That's the goal, of course, is to have it. It's like a temporary custody, temporary guardianship. So
Mhm.
that is what the goal is. And there has been talk already of dates for the criminal hearing. That's been
Wow.
given.
That's
However,
fast.
yeah, it is very fast. I do think some of that can change, we've heard, just based off of motions, based
Right.
off of the attorneys hoping that things can actually be dismissed. I think it would be the biggest joke ever to go before a jury with this information, even without getting an official diagnosis of Emma. There's enough from October's trial, I feel like. So I would love for it to get dismissed, to be honest, so that this family can get back together even sooner instead of having to wait things out. But
Sarah's
that's what,
asking if are they moving forward with criminal charges? Yes. Yes.
yeah.
The charges have not been dropped, which means they are still a cog in the wheel that is turning in the justice system. Both of them charged with 4 counts of felony child abuse with no evidence except unexplained fractures, and both parents saying we have no idea how this happened.
Yeah, they were also charged with two counts of child abuse and 2 counts of aggravated battery.
Yeah, it's insane. The state has no witness, no evidence, no nothing. They have
Oh,
nothing.
that was another thing that I heard happened at court. When the DFACS supervisor sat up there, she was asked, you're positive this baby was abused? She said, yeah, I'm absolutely positive. So he said, where did this abuse take place? Well, I don't know. When did it take place? Well, I don't know. Who did it? Well, I don't know. But you're positive. Yes, I'm positive. My sister said it got to the point where that caseworker, was completely flustered and aggravated because she had no answer and she looked
Because she has no
stupid sitting up
evidence.
there.
She does look
Yeah.
stupid. The entire Georgia DFACS looks stupid here. They don't have any evidence. And I'm sorry, but this is something that I've been reporting on for 20 years and railing at against the system is when you do not have evidence of abuse, you cannot continue to say, but there was abuse. No, you have to let it go, state. You don't
Yeah.
get to say, I think that this abuse happened, and so therefore I'm going to ruin the lives of innocent people who have not been proven guilty just because we want to. I know that they're allowed to do that in juvenile court because there are no rules and it's insane, and they're allowed to introduce hearsay and all sorts of garbage, and the burden of proof is way too low.
But it's because there's not enough eyes on these juvenile court hearings. There's not
because they
enough
don't let us in.
Yeah, they don't let you in.
Trust me, if we were allowed in, there would be eyes.
Now, I went yesterday, I told you about going to a Georgia Voices for Children. Georgia Voices for Children put on a seminar yesterday, a panel discussion, right?
Mhm.
And there were some really good people that Candace Brose was supposed to be there. And she is she's head director of DFACS. So she's over all of DFACS. And we've been trying to get a meeting with her. We ended up getting a meeting with other directors.
Was she the one that was at the congressional the Senate hearing?
I don't know if she made it to the Senate hearing, but she was talked about. Her name got brought up at the
What was her name?
Candace Brose.
Candace Brose. I'm pretty sure that was her.
Okay. She may have been at one.
She was the second one, not the first one, the second one. I played that one. She's a piece of work. I don't think you'd get very far with her.
No, and so we were going to go. We went yesterday. A couple of people from You Are the Power came. We were hoping, since this is a panel discussion, that we would get to ask questions, right? Well, these were all pre-selected questions before anyone got there. Of course it was. Now, we were given cards where we could write our questions down, but they weren't even getting turned in that day. We put them in a box. So what abyss they're going into, I don't know. Well, Candace was not there. Her name is even on the table right there on the middle section. She's supposed to be there. And then a couple of other people, a senator, a representative, the director of Georgia Office of the Child Advocate. was there, and he was spectacular. That man cares about kids. And I had a great conversation with him regarding all of this after.
Wait, who is that?
His name is Jerry Bruce. He's the director of the Georgia office of the Child Advocate. He was a SAG, which is the defects attorney. He was a prosecutor, and he's been a judge.
Well, he sounds like a good guy to have on your side.
He has a lot of experience, and everything he said on that stage is exactly how I feel. He was suggesting we have less removal of children and more support for families.
Yeah, no shit. Great idea, Jerry. Great idea.
He may have been the only one up there who really, believed that full-heartedly was possible. But Candace didn't show. She had someone step in her place because Candace was ordered at 11:26 yesterday morning to be before a judge on a Zoom hearing. So she's, I don't know what that means. So they sent someone else. We have these awesome little Reunite the Hernandez family pamphlets that You Are the Power handed out.
Nice.
So I had one with me, and I handed it.
They're like a godsend. I tell you,
Yes.
they're one of the most effective organizations that I've seen help people in this situation so far. This is wonderful. In fact, are you wearing a sweatshirt that says the same thing?
Yeah, I have a T-shirt that Reuniting the Hernandez family that we got to wear this weekend. Super
Wonderful.
Awesome group. And so I handed this pamphlet to the person who took Candace's place, and I said, hey, I actually came to see Candace. So I'm disappointed she wasn't here. Can you give this to her? And I wrote my email and my phone number down in there. Let her know Jennifer Williams, came to say hello and wanted her to have this. So I hope she does. I hope she handed it. She didn't look like super pleased with me. But the guy from the Child Advocate. Yeah.
Oh, well, yet again,
well.
I'm going to go back to it's too bad you don't like working for the people. The people are your boss, though. So you got to take their pamphlets, and you got to listen to what they have to say, and you got to read their emails. And so what if you have some sort of problem? Yeah. Lynn says, boo hoo. Yeah. All of us feel real sorry for you people with all the power to take our kids away, and you don't want to read a pamphlet.
Yeah, at this point, I know that they've all heard the Hernandez family. It's impossible that those within defects have not. So I'm sure when she saw it, it was like an instant But the guy from the Child Advocate, he was wonderful. And he asked me to email him because I gave him a very brief of what was going on. And he was like, what? He said, I was just at a meeting with defects in Forsyth County not that long ago talking about these kind of problems. And they
didn't bring it up.
Oh, I'm sure not. I'm sure not. So I let him know, and we're going to sit down together today and write an email to him because I genuinely believe this man cares and he has great ideas. He thinks there's too many kids in foster care. And, I recently found out it's like 85%, Megan. I know you know this, of all kids called, reported, told, they're unsubstantiated. It's like 85%.
Right. No. These are national numbers, Jennifer. It's not just Georgia. Health and Human Services has the statistics on their website. They're open to the public. You can go and search it for, I believe the last one that I looked at was from 2019. It was like 84% or 85% of allegations called into child services are unfounded. That does not mean that 84% of the kids go unmolested by child welfare, because they don't. They still get taken. They still get taken from their families. The families still get bankrupted through legal, battles that they shouldn't have had to fight in the first place. They have no process for weeding out fake phone calls, like people who call because they hate you or because they got angry. Swear to God, people call that 800 number for them dumbest things, like noisy neighbors. They're sick of their neighbors, so they'll call CPS and lie and say that they're abusing their kids, and that throws those people down a hole of hell for years. And there's no process to weed out the fake phone calls. There's also no punishment for making a false allegation to CPS or DFACS. There's nothing. And so, of course, this is going to happen. Of course, this is going to be the case. They also have no punishment system. for caseworkers who maliciously target parents for whatever reason. And we've seen with Sean McMillan, who comes on my program all the time, who's an amazing attorney in California who does nothing but sue CPS all day long. He, on his channel, Caps and Stems Law, which you should all go and subscribe to, he shows his depositions where he catches these people at basically admitting that they had a personal problem with a mom or a dad, and they took it out on them, and they took their kids because of it. They didn't like the way that somebody said something about them, and so the next thing you know, they're traumatizing your family. It is not the exception in these cases of false allegations. It's the rule. And then they don't get punished. They get promoted. They actually get promoted.
That's what I was going to say, that usually they just get put into another position. They get shuffled around, moved around. There's nothing. That's been our biggest problem with all of this from the beginning. When people are like, why did you get involved? You were just respite. Because so many shady things were happening that it didn't make sense. Like, why is this happening? Why are they keeping them from doctor's appointments? Why are they not trying to stand up for this breastfeeding mother to have visits with her kids? Why wouldn't you do that? And then they just get taken off the case and just like nothing ever happened. And yesterday at this seminar, I don't want to diss everybody that was there, but it was a lot of like pretty words, Megan, as you can imagine. You have a panel up there, and it's just all the great things they're doing and how awesome. And, it was fancy food. It was a free event. It was just all these wonderful things they're doing. And there was a judge. He was there, actually. He's a judge. And he said, everybody here should be going in to your juvenile courtrooms, and you should be witnessing and holding people accountable. And then the director of the child advocate group, it was either him who said it and the judge, whoever said it, the other one was like, yes, to hold these people accountable. But then you have, like in Rachel Bruno's case, they wouldn't let people come into her court hearing when she had neighbors, friends, people from church. They try and keep you out.
They do. They keep you out. They will say that it's a sealed case, or, because the privacy for the child, it's damn near impossible.
Yeah. It's wrong. So even this judge and this actual advocate is like, you need to start going into these hearings to hold people accountable, put eyes on this. That's what really should be happening. And
who suggested that should be the case?
Said that? So there was a judge there. His name was Judge Michael Key. He's a Troup County Juvenile Court. Mm-hmm. It was either he who said it.
A judge said this.
Yes. Wow. It was either he who said it, and then that director of the child advocate agreed, or the child advocate said it and the judge agreed. I can't remember. I was trying to take little notes, but those two, that judge and then the director, they both had the right idea. They were talking about holding things. They said, the judge was like, we all need to just follow the law. He was not talking about birth parents. That was not what he was getting at. He said, if everyone were to follow the law, we wouldn't have so many problems. He's talking about DFACs and judges and attorneys. You could tell that's what he meant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting. So the chat is asking for Senator Ossoff's contact information. It doesn't look like I found a email for him. I think it's on his website. You have to use a form, you guys, but I do have phone numbers for Ossoff. So let me put together a new Google document, and then I will share it with you guys that has that stuff. But let me check again. Yeah, no email. I know you guys are all having a hard time finding the email, and I didn't think I found it either. I think he has one of those forms. It's like an online form.
It's a submission form. That's what it is.
Yeah, you could call his office though and ask for one of his aides' emails. Mm-hmm. That's something that you could do, and then you could, use that one, because the aides will usually give you their emails. But I do have the phone numbers, and I put down the fax numbers for both his Atlanta office and the Washington phone and fax. Governor Kemp's fax machine doesn't work, even though they still have it listed. I don't know why they have it listed, but it doesn't work. So let me copy the link. Let me share this with you guys. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Georgia. I'll name it Hernandez call sheet. And then we want to do anyone with link, copy link. All right. I'm dropping it in the YouTube. I'll drop it in all the chats. This is for Ossoff and Governor Kemp contact. There you go. All right. There you go. And Rumble, you're getting it now too. This is Governor Kemp and Ossoff. There you go. All right. Yeah, make the phone calls. Look, here's the thing. They need to hear from you. First, for one thing, don't be, concerned about making phone calls. I know a lot of you say you're like, oh, I've got phone call anxiety. Listen, their entire job, all these people who work for the governor and who work for the senator, their entire job is to take calls from the public. They do it all day long. They're really nice people. No one's going to hang up on you and treat you badly if you're just like, hey, I've never made one of these calls before and I'm a little nervous. So if you could bear with me if I'm stuttering, but I really need to talk to you about something. And they'll make you feel comfortable. The governor's office, especially, those people at Governor Kemp's office are so nice, and they will sit there and listen to you on the phone. Like, seriously, I had the best conversation with the guy at the governor's office. So just keep calling, call them. That's why they're there. You should really tell them if you're nervous. Sarah, it's true. Just tell them, this is my first time. I've never done this before. Please be gentle with me. But they'll laugh, they'll make you feel better, and then you can do it.
Plus, you're just telling them what they've already heard, to be honest. At this point, Ossoff's office, Kemp's office has heard. So you're almost like reiterating, I'm one of those people. I'm concerned about the Hernandez family. I'm concerned.
We're back.
We're
back. We're still not satisfied. We're not satisfied with what the state has done. And it's our whole job to listen to the public, to take our opinions into consideration, and to represent the public in their decisions. And so they can't do their job if you don't call them. They can't do their job properly if you don't let them know what your concerns are. So it's really our job. It's our job to alert these people, to alert the representatives that we're not happy with what's going on, or that we are happy with what's going on. When you are happy with things going on in your state or with your government, you should let them know that too. They need to know that they're doing a good job, and they need to know when they're doing a bad job. Most of the time they're doing a bad job though. So they need to be told.
And Ossoff is doing a great job, so we can call him and thank him for what he's already doing. You can start out with that. You
could call Ossoff's office and say, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the Hernandez's concerns. And I sure appreciate that you're also investigating Georgia defects, because he's on a committee to investigate the foster care system. So thank him for that, because it needs to be done. These are things. And Senator Ossoff's a Democrat, by the way. And I don't give a shit. I don't care. And you guys know that I'm mostly conservative, and I've never voted for a Democrat other than Richard Daley in Chicago. But when I find one who does good things, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to thank them for it, and I'm going to support them. And this is what Senator Ossoff's one of the only senators I know of, besides Marsha Blackburn, who cares to go and investigate foster care. Like, these people are actually making a difference, and we should tell them, thank you for doing it. Duncan, Idaho, thank you for being a member for 3 months, by the way. I missed you yesterday. I saw that you were on Jeff's channel instead of mine. It made me feel very jealous, to tell you the truth. When Jeff and I have an audience that overlaps, and when I see you guys in his chat sometimes, I get green and ragey inside, which is so bad because he's my friend. Don't tell him I said that. All right. Duncan says, who are these little bumpkins who dare to question our ruling administrative class? What expertise did they have to justify this behavior? Yeah, that's the way they feel. I mean, a lot of these defects people, they feel like, that's why they took Jennifer's respite care home away, because they don't like being questioned. They're little kings on their thrones. Thanks for the super chat, Sarah Adams. family facing the same charges as Ruby Frankie, which is crazy because the evidence in her case is overwhelming. Like, a child escaped the house duct taped and injured and starving, and she's facing the same charges that the Hernandez family is facing. It's outrageous.
Yeah, it
It's
is. It did
outrageous.
not get brought up yesterday. I kind of wondered if anybody would bring up the 1,800 kids missing in foster care. But that did not get brought up during the seminar yesterday.
Well, I know that Senator Ossoff brought it up in his Senate hearings on that.
Yes.
He's very, very interested in where did the 1,800 kids go in Georgia that we can't find, that the state had control over. Hey guys, I forgot to say this, but if you're, I don't know what's going on with the chat today, but maybe your thumbs are not working. Do you have bad arthritis? I'm not sure. Whatever it is, use your toes if you have to, but hit the thumbs up button. It's good for the algorithm. Smash it. You just smack it and make it ring, you know, just like the Liberty Bell we're trying to ring over Georgia for the Hernandez family. You just want to hit it with like a gong, you know, just smack it. You can do it. We have 40 of you here and 180 likes. That's offensive. It's offensive to me. Don't make me shame you. Get off your couch and pick up your thumbs and just hit that little like button. It's not going to hurt you. Do it on Rumble too. And I don't know what you do on Facebook. I have no idea what goes on Facebook. I just know that we're streaming there. All right. Also, don't forget you can send tips through Cash App, Venmo. It supports the show. Go to the merch store. We have all sorts of things there for you to purchase, like my O for Fox's Sake sweatshirt, and that does help the show continue to cover these very important things that you guys like to hear about, and it helps us. Okay, so here's the thing. McRae says, stop yelling at me. I did it while you were late. Well, I was yelling at Broward County. Interesting. Cynthia Absug wants to know what are the parents being criminally charged with, if anything? They're being charged with 4 counts of felony child abuse, 2 counts of battery, 2 counts of I don't know, just child abuse.
2 counts of child abuse, 2 counts of aggravated battery. Both of them.
It's crazy. I mean, it's outrageous. There's no evidence of any of it. None. 0. So it's just them. It's just child abuse doctors who have this idea that these unexplained fractures could only have happened through abuse. And
listen, I do want to throw one thing out there, Megan, that some people I've heard, like, they almost defend them a little bit. And I guess that really angers me because I've been so involved with this. Nobody needs to think, well, they just don't want to send kids to an abusive home. I think people need to understand it is really not that hard to weed out who is abusing their kids and who isn't. I'm not trying to be rude about that, but we are all judgmental people. You can walk through Walmart and you can see who they are in retrospect as a parent. They could have done so many things for this family that would still have kept these girls safe. 100% could have still kept them safe. There's safety plans. There's going to their home. There's doing a background check. You know, they had already taken the girls from the parents before they went to their house. Before they did any of that. Yes.
Yeah.
So before,
yeah, I mean, and then you watch, I'm scrolling on Twitter the other day and I come across that viral video of that woman, speaking of Walmart, there's this woman in Walmart with her 2-year-old baby on a 20-degree day who's wearing a diaper and shivering, literally shivering. She's fully dressed. He's shivering in the cart. And these good people come around this baby. Somebody goes and gets clothes from the Walmart and is like, we're putting this on the baby because this baby is shivering. The other one, the Walmart worker who filmed it, got fired for filming it. And it's like, so there's parents like this walking around literally with their baby shivering in the cold and nobody's doing a damn thing. And you've got parents like Matt and Taki who are like, oh my God, my baby's leg is swollen. I better take her to the hospital. And next thing you know, they're in jail. The hell? You're right. You can decide you can figure out who's abusing and who's not. And Matt and Taki are not abusers. There's no way. This is not the case. Something here has gone wrong. And if DFACS was responsible, they would say, okay, we got it wrong. We made a mistake. let's go back, let's drop these charges and go to the DA and say we made a mistake. But those child abuse doctors never want to admit they're wrong. Sally Smith said in an interview I think it was on the stand, she said, I've never been wrong. Shit. Never been wrong. What's the ego on these people? I've been wrong lots of times in my life. I've made mistakes. I've made character mistakes. I've judged people incorrectly. I've gotten things wrong. It is the state of being human. When you find somebody who says they've never been wrong, holy shit, better look into their record, because it's probably littered with mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she did. She threw frozen food on the baby, too. Right. The shivering baby in the cart. She's, talking back to the people who are criticizing her, and she throws a bag of frozen peas or something right on the shivering baby. I wanted to jump through the screen and strangle her. And so there's people like that walking around and nobody's doing anything. And yet Matt and Taki, prison.
That's the thing that people need to understand. No one reported them. Nobody brought anything in on them. And all the hospital did was wrap Emma's leg in a soft ACE bandage and give her baby Tylenol. You have to understand, she was not brought in with there was no bruising on her body. None at this time. The bruises came and went later. That has started happening. When she was there was nothing there. No marks on this baby's body. This was just parents noticing this. And we've seen it multiple times, Megan. Kids that did not need to go home, that literally went back home to a life of hell. Kids that were in our care. So it's almost like it's a complete opposite. Whatever they should be doing, they're literally doing the opposite. You can call and make reports on people who you've seen it with your own eyes there's abuse. They don't get removed. So we need to stop wasting time on these cases, but they're zoned in on it. They're zoned in on the Hernandez family. Like you said, they'll die on that hill. They will not apologize. They won't admit to anything, nothing.
No, they can't. It's just not in their nature. It's not in the nature of bureaucracy to ever admit that it's wrong.
That's wrong. What if they have no humanity in them? Like, it's really hard for me to understand. I don't care if you're a lawyer or prosecutor. She has children. Danielle Benefield has children. How do you not look at Matt and Tucky and look at this family and not say, I really shouldn't be fighting the way that I am. I really shouldn't treat them like this.
Oh, I have no idea. That woman makes me worried. She makes me nervous.
Yeah.
She's like a pit bull. That one is a pit bull of an attorney. And I guess I would want her on my side because she's something else. But her demeanor is like she is prosecuting murderers.
Yes.
Like serial killers. You would think that Jeffrey Dahmer himself was the one she was going after. It was so.
Back in October, when I was sitting there, I'm just a foster mom who saw something in a baby, and the way she talked to me and looked at me and treated me was disgusting. I was like to her, I'm a nobody. I get that, but this is my opinion. This is what happened with me. I'm here to tell the truth, and the way she treated me was disgusting, and I just don't think it should be allowed in a courtroom. I really don't. Where is the humanity? I don't know where it is.
So have we missed anything that we don't know about yet? Are there any other updates that we don't know about? What else is there?
I can tell you they were told to get the steps the parents have to do, right? To get their kids back. Things they have to do, which is kind of interesting because they have to take psychological evaluation, parenting classes, these kind of things that foster parents don't even have to do in order to become foster parents. So I find that really, my sister pointed that out. And I think a podcast that I did last week, they had pointed that out, which I knew, but to say that out loud, so you're removing these kids from this home, putting them into the stranger's home, and these strangers don't even have to take these classes that the birth parents have to do to get their kids back. That's really screwed up.
Wow.
So this was the 19th. The parents are ordered to do the, step 1, step 2, step 3. They're still waiting to hear back from the department. They're asking, where should I get this evaluation done? Who can you recommend? DFAC still hasn't told them. So if they don't even speak to them. They don't help them. They don't tell them. And it's a lot of this is only answers they can only get from the department. But most people
And they're
don't
not
know
going to
that.
play nice.
Where
They're
do
not
you
gonna
go to
play
get a
nice.
psych evaluation done? They don't know what kind of psych evaluation they're supposed to do. They can't just walk into any doctor and ask that. And the department's already waited 10 days now to not even answer them, to ignore them.
And the evaluation. Now, here's what they should do. They should just get their own, because the department is going to, and they should talk to their attorney about this. The attorney should just facilitate it. Just do what the court ordered, because they're going to, if they wait for the department to tell them what to do, they're going to give them a, a court appointed, or somebody
Like
who's
a biased opinion.
somebody who's on the court record already. And
Sure.
then these people are scary. I'm telling you, they're scary. They have I've done research on these people before, and it's like whatever the state wants, that's what they find. So be very careful about going to anybody that DFACS recommends as far as psychological
People
evaluation.
are just trying to play nice in the beginning. Like, who do you recommend? Thankfully, the attorneys have stepped in, and I know that they will help guide the parents. But I just think viewers should know that they're told to do something and the department is completely silent, and they will not get reprimanded for that. Nobody's going to say, hey, you need to talk to the parents. They're asking you questions. They won't get reprimanded. It doesn't matter to anyone.
No, they won't. Unhung Hero, thanks for the super chat and the email address that he found for Senator Ossoff. So I've added it to the call sheet. I will add that to the description of this video as well. Let's see. Let me put this down here for you guys. Again, I will paste the link. I've added it there so you can email him. But I also encourage you to, to call them. Call the office. The more phone calls that they get, the better. Emails are good too, but call. So there's the link in the chat for Senator Ossoff's email and also the governor of Georgia. Please keep calling them today. Keep calling them all week. They need to hear that we're not done here. We're not finished, and they need to be on top of this. And right now what needs to happen is that the criminal charges against the Hernandezes need to get dropped. So that's the new thing we need to be concentrating on. Jennifer, Jonathan, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate you standing up for this family, and keep doing it. Yeah,
Sarah Adams said it earlier. I don't think she said Jennifer's not going to shut up. And
good.
I'm not, because they're innocent kids in an innocent family, and everybody should care about that.
I agree. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate it.
And I want to say your watchers did a really amazing job with your last video where you were donating even your super chats to their Give, Send, Go. That sent in a lot of much needed and appreciated support. So thank you, Megan. You've been amazing during all this.
Oh, I forgot about their Give, Send, Go. Let's check that out. Actually, I don't have a. Let's see. Give, Send, Go. Let's check that out, because there is. Do you guys know what the there it is? I got it. All right, cool.
You're fast.
Let's see where we're at now. Holy crap! Wait, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Where is it? What's it called again? There's a name of it.
They've got a weird.
There it is. Holy cow. We're up to $4,386. This is wonderful, you guys. Let me drop that in the link again. So this is helping them get their attorney's fees paid for, and anything else they might need, because this is going to be so hard for them to dig out of once this is over. Even if the charges are dropped, I mean the cost is so overwhelming, and you guys are so generous. Send anything to them. Send $1, $2, because this is something that if it happened to you, you would want your community to come around you and help you get the kind of representation that you need. Getting a good lawyer is really key, and now they have one, and that's really good news. And so those bills need to get paid. But I think when we first started doing this, I think it started at I think that it was only at like $1,300 or something.
It was. You're correct.
And you guys, I forgot to tell you this, but that day you raised almost $2,000 in one day.
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud of you. Just so proud of all of you for doing that. Thank you so much. And keep it coming. Keep it coming. All right. You guys take care. Thank you so much. Please keep me updated when you hear new information. And
Yeah,
I will stay on it. I'm with you.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. I am going to shut this stream down, and then I'm going to start a new one because I'm going to give you an update in the Eckert v. Owens case with the Broward County fight that I'm picking with the sheriff because they have not responded the way they should have responded. And so, yeah, this is a problem. So let's, I'm going to shut this one down. Stick around though, because there'll be another one. Just stay tuned. I don't have it set up just yet, but I will in the next couple of minutes. And so I want to do a separate stream though, because it gets too confusing if I keep it in one and then nobody can find it. So I'm going to fire up a new one. Sound good? No, it won't be hard to find me. You can always pay attention to my Twitter, or if you're on my locals, meganfox.locals.com, you can stay tuned for the announcement there because it will be there right before I go live. I would say it's like 10 minutes from now. I would say it'll take me about 10 to 15 minutes to get it set up. All right, where's my exit song? Where is it? There it is. All right, I'll see you in a few.
Lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. This time I know my road is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. And my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say. No, I don't wanna say goodbye.
So I take it that
Johnny's
you've
problem
seen
is he
Cameron
should
John's
come
bedroom
storming
before.
in there with
Yeah.
a string of
Do you
garlic
recall when
and
we
some
went
holy
into
water.
Mr. Judson's
And a cross,
first
a crucifix
bedroom?
one.
May the
Do you
power of
recall,
Christ
or no,
compel you.
No, I don't.
You
believe so.
realized
Miss
his house
Heather,
was infested with
just up for
succubuses.
that,
And
there's a video here with you of what it, yes. Do you recall whether it was there
Succuloters.
when you arrived in the afternoon? I don't remember seeing it now. So while she
No wonder he said drown her before you burn her.
All
You-
right. Your next witness?
Now I know
Witness
why
Your
you
Honor,
wanted
now
to
in
drown her.
Glacis, and that
Next
is
witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That begins with Ms.